I'm just going to beat that drum forever because I am such an advocate for your health and wellness during an event cycle, all the time, but especially during events. How are entrepreneurs like us daring bravely to build a stage, ditch the sweatpants, and step up to the mic? How do we create our own transformative events so we can get our message out into the world in a bigger way that's not only profitable, but it's actually something we can be proud of? That's the question. And the answers are inside this podcast. My name is Sarah Pfeiffer. Welcome to Green Room Central. Are you tired of feeling stressed and overwhelmed during your events? Do you want to learn how to maintain your composure and really lead with grace under pressure? In this episode, we are going to talk about practical tips and strategies to help you keep calm and carry on even in the most challenging moments of your events. Back in January, I think it was one of those holiday weekends, I went skiing with my family. We were at Mount Bachelor, just outside of Bend. We're all pulling up to the chairlift. 2 of us were on skis, 1 on a snowboard. And I got like the outside spot on the chairlift, so the spot on the right. And so we're all pulling up, and I use my poles to move up to the line, right? And go to sit down, looking behind me for the chair, and there's no space to get on the chair. My family, and I think it was a 4-person, it was like a quad. There was one other person, and then the 3 of us, and there was no room for me to get on. And so I was like half a butt cheek on the chairlift, and I held on long enough for the chairlift to start taking off, and then I fell off the chairlift. Just completely fell off, and my skis fall off. It's a whole yard sale situation happening, and my family goes on without me, but they stopped the lift so that the next chair wouldn't hit me. And this operator came up to me and had the most clear and concise and direct communication, and also extremely calm at the same time, telling me what to do and in what order. Grab your, I don't know what all the commands were, but it was like, grab your skis and walk to the left, and then walk over by me, and then get in the line here, and then come back up and sit down on the lift, or whatever it all was. I was a little bit in a daze because I was so embarrassed that I had just fallen off the lift and all these people were staring at me. But I loved and really took notice that this young man had such clear, direct, calm communication. My head at that moment is totally freaking out, right? Because I'm embarrassed, because I'm wondering if I'm hurt. I'm just like totally scattered. But his brain was totally grace under pressure. And it made me think about leadership inside of our events and how it's our job to be grace under pressure, and how events can be such a pressure cooker, right? Such a pressure cooker. I mean, cut to the end of the story. I ended up getting on a lift with somebody else. They said that they would send. My poles had fallen too far away for me to grab them. So they said they would send them up with the next group, and nobody was hurt, and everyone had a good laugh in my family. And next time I looked, I think I looked to the right instead of to the left, or to the left instead of the right when I was like looking behind me to get on the chair. In whatever I'm supposed to do, I did it right the next time. And also made sure that there was plenty of room and nobody it was one of those, where they all rolled over and one fell out type of situations. Yeah. At least it was good for a laugh. But I want to talk about pressure during events and being graced under pressure because inside of Live Event Academy, we talk about it all the time. And it's one of my most favorite mantras. It's just so important. Grace under pressure. That and details matter. But as it relates to pressure, I think it's helpful to go in eyes wide open. And I know this is hard if it's your first event, but if it's your next event, you've done one before, I think you understand a little bit about the fact that there's going to be pressure. There's going to be pressure from the moment you make the decision to host an event. There's time pressure, there's financial pressure, there's task pressure, there's pressure from your community with the asking of the questions and wanting to know logistics, all the things, right? All the things. If it's your first event, you haven't done one before, I would compare it to a launch in that there are so many moving parts and it's deadline driven. So just like buckle up and be ready. And so I say, be grace under pressure, understand that pressure is going to happen. And then I want to start talking to you about strategies that you can use in the pressure cooker that is events, because gosh knows it's a pressure cooker. And so I know we've done a whole episode on self-care, so I'm not going to go into the minutia of details there, but know that that is a big factor in whether or not you are capable of maintaining your leadership of grace under pressure during an event cycle. It is absolutely vital. Yes, understanding that pressure is a thing is one, but two is really maintaining your self-care so that you have a full cup that you're pouring from. And yes, I think it's totally going to be a beat. I'm just going to beat that drum forever because I am such an advocate for your health and wellness during an event cycle all the time, but especially during events. So yes, maintain your sense of calm using your self-care practices, but also I think team is a huge piece of that. We've talked about how it's so important to be strategic about assigning the tasks in categories and having a team member in your event team member who's in charge of that category, right? And having the regular cadence of the check-ins and the meetings and all the things that are keeping those systems that then processes that really keep you ahead of the game, right? We talk about how the power of preparation, right, will allow you to keep more of a level head during the event. I think the power of team and the strategies that you use and that preparation and that cadence of check-ins really, really, really helps with this whole grace under pressure concept, because you're just going to feel like more details are taken care of. There's less to worry about. You know, that whole example I give you all the time of flowers in the bathroom. Well, the power of preparation means that you've prepared in the sense of you've ordered them and you know who's going to meet the florist on the day of the event to receive them, and you know who's going to put them in the place where you want them to be in the bathroom. And there's a sense of calm that comes from knowing that those details are taken care of, and that allows you when high stress situations arise, and yes, they will arise. It's not an if, it's when. You will be able to stay more calm because you'll know that more of the other details, more of the other minutia level stuff is taken care of. And so we talked about understanding that yes, there is going to be pressure, all sorts. Yes, there are strategies for staying calm. The power of self-care is one. The power of team is another. The power of preparation is a third. I think that when you get those ducks in a row, it allows you to be a stronger leader, right? And leadership is such a huge piece of the puzzle in events. We've talked about how, yes, you have a team that you're managing, But you also have a team of vendors and suppliers who you are managing during an event cycle, people that do not report to you. And it's important that you are leading by example and you're being grace under pressure. I had a conversation with someone this week about intensity during events and how it's totally okay to be intense, to be direct, like my story from the beginning of this conversation where I said I fell off the chairlift and the attendant was so clear and direct with the communication. That's okay. At that level of intensity is fine. That's not what I'm talking about. It's okay to be intense. It's okay to be direct. It's okay to be dialed in. But I want you to do it with a sense of grace, because you're leading by example. You're showing the rest of your team how it's okay and not okay to treat your guests and treat your vendors. And by extension, it's the face of your brand, right? So much of what we do during an event is all about creating that living embodiment of your brand. And when you lead by example and are grace under pressure during your event, it shows your team how to act, right? It's kind of like when you're parenting a small child and you're modeling the behavior that you want them to emulate. And this grace under pressure concept it's a big piece of your leadership during events. And I don't want you to underestimate how extremely important it is. And then I would end with saying that maintain perspective, right? So I want you to perhaps have a scale in your head. I was listening to Jesse Itzler and Sarah Blakely, a little bit of their talk from Grant Cardone's 10X event recently. And they said that in their marriage, they have this scale, this 1 to 10 scale. And if something comes up that might cause an argument or something, the conversation is in their heads before they act on it is, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this? Is this a 7 or less? If so, then we drop it. And so I would encourage you to perhaps have some perspective like that you're maintaining during your event in an effort to help you maintain that sense of grace under pressure. And delegation it doesn't hurt as well. It's making sure the issues that get to you are a level at which need your attention. So I hope that was helpful. I think it's so important to me because it wasn't always my story that I was grace under pressure during an event. I definitely know that it was a learned skill for me. But I think it's one of the most important ones because it's a pressure cooker, because so many people are holding your event in their hands. It's important for you to lead by example and be grace under pressure. And I believe in you that it's possible. And if you've had scenarios in the past where it wasn't possible for you to maintain that grace under pressure and lead by example, then make note so that next time we can put systems and processes in place that eliminate those reasons why you might need to lash out or feel the need to lash out or crack under the pressure. Let's kind of reduce those times when you're tested. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed this gentle reminder on grace under pressure and that it helps you to keep calm and carry on during your events. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Make it an outstanding rest of the week. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Green Room Central podcast. If you loved this episode, then please take a screenshot on your phone and post it to Instagram, and be sure to tag @SarahPfeiffer and let me know why you liked it and what you'd like to hear or who you'd like to hear from in the future. That'll help me know what to create for you. The number one thing I'm asked by CEOs, whether it's their first event or their 20th, is, Sarah, how do I get more butts in seats? And so I put together a guide for you. Head over to fillingevents.com for your free copy of 107 ways to fill your event. I want to help you quickly master event marketing and fill your events, even if you've never done it before. I've scoured the online business world and found 107 of my favorite strategies working right now to fill your next in-person or virtual event. Create the event promotion plan you need from these easy-to-implement, customizable strategies for free over at fillingevents.com. I appreciate your commitment to leveling up and learning the mindset and strategy of live events. Keep going. Keep learning. If you want more, head over to greenroomcentral.com for show notes and all the links from today's episode.